Roundtable here on the Boston Celtics newsfeed. Matt Ignal here alongside Lucky's Pipe and the great Sam Sheehan. We're powered by CLNS Media and Simple Context, coming to you as the trade deadline is rapidly approaching. The rumors are heating up. Depending on your perspective, this is, I guess, either a really exciting time of year. If you're like Sam Sheehan, you're kind of filled with dread about what might happen. Let's dive right into these rumors here. First one, Greg Monroe apparently weighing signing with the New Orleans Pelicans and the Boston Celtics. How might this work, guys?
I mean, look, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I kind of thought, the weirdness of Phoenix, for whatever reason, buying him out before the trade deadline it's very strange timing, and that kind of monkeys up what I thought the Celtics were going to do, which would be make Greg Monroe the kind of final, like the consolation prize if you don't do anything else at the deadline if he's there. But now he's out there and doing things before the trade deadline, which kind of muddies the math a little bit. I think he could help the Celtics, provide bench scoring, provide some rebounding. I don't know how much he moves the needle in the playoffs, when teams go smaller. And, I'm not sure how much he would help and be part of the rotation. So it'd really be just to bolster the bench and, kind of help you, I guess, maybe earlier in the playoffs or during the regular season. So I think it would be a fine addition, but I just don't think it does too much overall.
So Greg Monroe, by advanced stats, kind of rates out as like an average player, but that's good for, someone on your bench unit. And you could, see him being part of the playoff rotation, or at least I can, being one of the 8 or 9 guys that you want to go to. And he can kind of be like, a fulcrum of the offense, sort of running it, running the Celtics system where they play through their bigs from the high post or even the low post. And, he can go and get you buckets, and that's valuable. He sometimes commands a double team when he's really rolling. But, ultimately, I think he rates out as an average player. But we haven't heard that the Celtics are just interested in one guy. They might be interested in 2 here. But before we get on to that, thoughts on Greg Monroe, Lucky?
Yeah, I mean, I like him. He's kind of depends. His playing time would depend on who they would, if they made another trade, and what player that would be. But I like him in the place of Baines. The defense is not even close to Baines, but there's been so many instances in the last couple games, in the last month, 2 months, where Baines just has a bunny at the rim, and that's a basket that Monroe is going to be able to make. The high pick and roll with Horford and Monroe, he actually has hands and they work, and he knows how to make a layup. So I think that could be pretty interesting to see what that's like. But yeah, he's pretty average, but he could be great off the bench.
Yeah, he's never played with, I guess, as good of a team as Boston has right now. Maybe they'll be able to unlock a little something extra with him.
Yeah, well, but that's also kind of the point, though. I don't think there's any doubt that he would help, the Celtics' current regular season woes that they're having, what's losing the Celtics' regular season games. I think he'd be a good fit for, stopgapping these when the bench units come in and just hemorrhages away these leads as they stumble around bleeding and try to figure out how to make the ball go in the hole. But I just don't think in the playoffs, when you're always going to have either Kyrie Irving or Al Horford on the floor, I think Brad Stevens is smart enough to do that. I don't think you need Greg Monroe, doing what he does. You know what I'm saying? You need Al Horford and Kyrie Irving doing what they do. They just, with the minutes management of the regular season, that doesn't happen in the regular season. I just don't think that it would affect the playoffs very much. But at the same time, though, it doesn't necessarily need to. This is a buyout guy you're bringing in for the rest of the season.
Well, I was just going to say, we do have this torrent of scorer off the bench right now, and his name is Iso Mook, and he's coming to take all of the buckets in forms of fadeaways, So it might, if he's legit and he's ready to play, the scoring need is lessened. So, but Monroe would be helpful for free without a pit.
How do y'all feel about Brook Lopez? Apparently was upset about being benched early in the third quarter. Is he a better option than Monroe for the Celtics if he gets bought out, as it's looking like he might be?
Maybe, but Brook Lopez. I watched a lot of Brook Lopez in person, and he's he's one of these guys where he's always been in such bad situations that I really can't tell if it's him or, if he's part of the bad situation or if he's just unlucky. He's a very similar player. He's also got the added bonus of actually having a little bit of range too. I mean, Brook can actually stretch the floor a little bit, which I think in a Brad Stevens system would be good. But I think if he becomes available, it'd be a lot of the same thing. I'm not necessarily sure.
I feel more comfortable with Monroe. There's not the injury risk you have to worry about. Like if his leg's just going to blow out at any time. Last year Monroe had a stretch of like a month or two where his defense was like actually legit. He was, the Bucks were going crazy like they do at sometimes, and he was a big part of it. So I think he's a little bit more proven and reliable.
Well, also though, let's not get it twisted though. Okay, Monroe has never missed a team practice to go with his brother to Disney World. So let's weigh what's important here. So I'm going to have to give Brook the edge here. He's also a comic book guy. So, myself being a Vol-Cell warrior, I can respect that.
Yeah, so apparently deciding between New Orleans and Boston, he could potentially start in New Orleans now that they've dealt Omer Ashik alongside Anthony Davis, I guess.
Omer, I didn't want Omer coming up the worst. The talent of Omer Ashik keeping Greg Monroe on the bench. Omer's coming home, baby.
We joke, but there was a time like 3 years ago when he was a hot let's talk about how we should get
Brandon Bass in a first.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was Derrick Rose was an MVP when that was happening.
All right. Before we get to our next point here, we're going to talk to you a little bit about Simple Contacts, the convenient way to renew your contacts lens prescription and reorder your brand of contacts from anywhere in minutes. It is vision care simplified. If you need to renew your prescription, just take a 5-minute vision test from your phone or computer. It's reviewed by a licensed doctor, and you receive a 1-year prescription and reorder your contacts. They offer convenience. No more waiting in doctor's office or waiting rooms. The vision test is self-guided and takes less than 5 minutes, so you get speed. It's reliable. You get plenty of choice, including options for astigmatism, multifocal lenses, colored contacts, and more. They have great customer support. They make sure every customer is 100% satisfied. You get text updates on your order. You can ask questions or reorder via text anytime. And not to mention, you can save a lot of money. We have a special offer here just for our listeners. You get $30 off with this unique URL. It's simplecontacts.com/CelticsNews or enter the coupon code CelticsNews at checkout. Again, go to simplecontacts.com/CelticsNews or enter the coupon code CelticsNews at checkout. It's not a replacement for your periodic full eye health exam, obviously, but if you want contacts simplified and fast, Simple Contacts is for you. All right, Sam, you have Simple Contacts in right now, huh?
Yeah, I'm always looking for human contact. Is that what the company does? Or no, for my glass, yeah, I took my glasses off too, so I could also use some Simple Contacts. Easy, but it's just too hard. Maybe I'll use the unique URL, Celtics News, to see if I can't save a little money.
All right, well, let's turn that smile upside down there, Sam, by talking about the other guy that the Celtics have been linked to. His name is Tyreke Evans.
Before we get to the creme de la creme of the trade right now, every team and their brother wants to get a little bit of Tyreke in their life. I had somebody that I follow, Zach Contradanko, brought up Marco Bellinelli, and I was like, very cheap. That's somebody that maybe just a second rounder, maybe like Nader in a second rounder. And it's he's a little old, but the dude still shoots the ball. That's something that, the Celtics could use. And did I say he's dirt cheap?
Yeah. I get the feeling that they're just kind of eyeing the best players more so than fit, which I guess makes sense. But it does sort of seem like more than anything they could really use another shooter out there.
I think you have to go to the next tier. You need to be you need to be going after the Lou Williams or the Tyreke Evans for it to make enough of a difference. But
I know, but then we're talking about
exactly, and then that's when we get into our bigger point here about what would Tyreke Evans cost.
Sure. Yeah, the Memphis is certainly asking for a first round pick. right now. I imagine you got to give up that and more to get Lou Williams for sure, who's probably a better player than Tyreke Evans. But Evans having a really nice season, up near about 40% 3-point shooting, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 20 points. Basically, his rookie year numbers, just a little bit better 3-point shooting. He's a good player. By the advanced stats, we had Jacob Goldstein on this week by PIPM, player impact plus minus. I think he rated out as like a plus like 1.5, which is really good for coming off the bench. So I'm sure the Celtics would like to have him. It's just seems like Memphis is really waiting on that first, and it's gonna we'll see if the Celtics are willing to pony it up. My inclination, though, contra Bill Simmons, is that it's not time for that. I feel like you are willing to offer that first when you feel like this guy might really put you over the top, and I just don't think the Celtics are quite there yet. Sam, you want to explain why late firsts are valuable?
Yeah, I would be overjoyed to explain why I think this is a terrible idea, and I cannot believe that this is. I understand. I guess I shouldn't say I don't understand. I understand how, to a casual observer, you could look at everything and you could say, well, the Celtics, we are Celtics fans who very recently lived through the 2016 draft when Danny made 5 picks or whatever it was on draft night, and James Young got his 4th option declined, and RJ Hunter got lost to the roster crunch. Those days are gone. The Boston Celtics have made consolidation trades since then. They moved 3 guys in the trade for they made 3 guys, rotation guys, for Kyrie Irving. They are Aaron Baines will likely not be with the team next year. Marcus Morris will likely not be with the team in 2 years. This team is, because of where they are up against the tax, they're going to need to make a choice between Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier probably in the next 2 years. If you guys are absolutely convinced that Abdel Nader and Shane Larkin have a long-term future with this team, and you don't want a first-round pick instead of those guys, more power to you. But I just don't. When you actually sit down and look at the roster, there's plenty of room for these first-round picks. And the Celtics, the war chest is there, but it's not also – we're also getting to the end of it. And the Celtics are only going to have their first-round picks, their own first-round picks after 2019 if everything conveys on time. So, this is – and this is how you end up bad. I wrote a big piece of this on Celtics Hub, that this is how – teams kind of get trapped like the Grizzlies and what eventually killed the Mavericks. What is happening to the Pelicans right now? You get trapped because you get caught in the Clippers too. You get caught in this vicious cycle where you are consistently the Wizards. Yes. You get caught in this vicious cycle where you do not have a rotation player who is capable of helping out. So you trade a first-round pick to get that rotation help. Can you imagine where the Wizards would be if they had traded away Kelly Oubre during those times? And I bet people thought, wherever he was selected, I was outside of the lottery, I believe. I think he got 15. I bet people thought he'll be okay. He won't be that important. And he is, just okay, but he's still extremely important to this team because later on down the line, if you're a good team and you need to pay money, and the Celtics are a team that is going to need to pay a lot of money starting very soon. Kyrie Irving is coming off of a very cheap extension deal because of how much the cap has moved. This is all going to come to a head very soon, and the Celtics are going to need these first-round draft picks, every single one of them. And this doesn't even discuss the possibility of maybe you hit gold and you get a Rudy Gobert or a Jimmy Butler or a, Draymond Green or these guys who are sometimes lurking around in the second round. Jordan Bell, Nikola Jokic was the second round. All of these guys are there. And you can get them if you just make the picks. So the only reason you should ever be trading a first-round draft pick is because you are getting someone back who you can then re-sign if it is an expiring contract. The Celtics will not sign Tyreke Evans. Anyway, don't do it, Danny. Do not do it. I see you. Get your fingers off the phone. Don't do it. Do not get Tyreke Evans. Do not give up the first-round pick. That said, if the Celtics want to give a second-round pick for him, their own pick, it's fine. Whatever.
I guess.
Don't give him, especially not Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Sam.
Don't trade Marcus Smart.
I just feel like 2 out of every 3 late first round picks just wind up busting and provide essentially no value.
Exactly.
But if it does work out, then it's an essential piece for a Celtics team that, as you say, is going to be in the tax and is going to be contending, is going to just surround their stars with cheap contracts.
Well, let me go one step further. Let's say if you're an Anthony Davis truther, the Celtics are going to need to send a lot of stuff back to get Anthony Davis. You are going to need each and every single one of these picks if you are, if not just to put in the package, but to have this additional cheap requisite talent you are going to need on the on these Anthony Davis teams. No, they won't come in and be a rookie impact player, but in 3 years, 4 years, they're going to look like Terry Rozier. They're going to look like Marcus Smart, and that's who you're looking for, is those guys who are, you're somewhere between your 7th to 8th man on a good team who can kind of tie things together and make this, just make it happen for this team.
Okay, when's your article coming out on why the Celtics shouldn't get Anthony?
I'm writing the first part right now, which is it's sort of a cap explainer explaining where the Celtics financials are. Mm-hmm. Why the Celtics shouldn't trade for Anthony Davis is not a good title. That's probably not what I'm going to go with. It's probably going to be, what is the downside to trading for?
I completely agree with that. No, Anthony Davis was just actually he was propped up by Boogie Cousins. We all know this, right. And he's not worth trading for. I don't like the idea that we have to trade to become a contender. Have you seen the standings without Gordon Hayward, guys? We are a contender.
This is only a little bit irony, but how often has Jason Tatum gotten hurt in the NBA, and how often has Anthony Davis gotten hurt in the NBA? I just like to point that out. How many games has Jaylen Brown missed, and how many games has Anthony Davis missed? Like, come on, people. The truth.
How many times has Anthony Davis pretty much dunked Porzingis out of the building?
How many playoff games?
Less than Jaylen.
How many playoff games has Anthony Davis won? Oh, that's right. How many playoff games has Jaylen Brown won? How many playoff games has Terry Rozier won? I rest my case.
Probably has triple-double.
Look, WEI, what's up?
Probably goes without saying that the DeMarcus Cousins injury really improves the Celtics' chances of trading for Anthony Davis, I would have to say.
Yeah, the fly in the ointment here is the DVE. If he can sign that, and then that's pretty much it, mm-hmm. because he loses all his fulcrum. So it's going to come down to, does Anthony Davis's camp want to get him out there badly enough to get that full DVE extension? Because he's going to qualify for it. It's just a matter of, does he want to take it and then cement himself into New Orleans, or will he be willing to not take it and take less money to apply the pressure in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, we technically haven't seen anyone really turn it down. However, Paul George was basically itching to get out of town when that was potentially on the table. Same thing with Kyrie Irving, who would have been eligible. So I think one thing we've learned over the years is that Danny Ainge is kind of always thinking big. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Celtics brought on 2 guys and thought that, hey, maybe they're a Golden State injury away from, being the favorites in the East and then having a chance in the finals. So I don't know. I'm not ruling out.
I can just hear it now. Like the window's open. The Cavs they can't play. You got to pounce. You got to trade Marcus Smart. Move to LA.
What are the chances that Marcus Smart has played his last game in Boston? Well, all right, his last game in a Boston uniform.
Oh, come on.
Not a chance?
Oh, come on. No, I will protect Marcus Smart with my life. This is a no Marcus Smart disrespect zone. I cannot
I'm not disrespecting him. I'm wondering here.
Marcus Smart is a very good basketball player. If he leaves, it will be. I don't know. I think if Marcus Smart leaves, it will be because someone did something dumb and gave him too much money this offseason, and which I think the Celtics will not match a silly contract for him, and it's very likely they could lose him for that. But I have a hard time thinking any of these guys out there on the realistic trade market are better than Marcus Smart overall in terms of game impact.
I mean, I hear the the amount of teams that have space is small. So, I mean, if anything, there's a better chance that they'll be able to sign him and stay under the tax at this point because he's just tanking his contract right now. But
Thank you, Marcus.
I mean, thanks.
Yeah, he really. I think he is just trying to stay in Boston. Like that's
it's really on the team. Like they need to pay the extra to get the padded, put the pillows on all of the sharp objects in the hotel room. This is just, they should know.
Did he set up the whole incident with the Insta thought?
Yeah, let's get really conspiracy about it.
Next level, baby. That's Celtics guarantee.
All right. Well, that'll do it here on Celtics Roundtable here on the Boston Celtics newsfeed. If you like this show, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to CLNS Media. If you prefer to check us out on the go, you can also subscribe to the Boston Celtics newsfeed. We're also on Twitter at CLNS Roundtable. I want to thank Lucky's Pipe and Sam Sheehan for joining me. Sorry we haven't done a lot of shows this week, but that's what happens. So anyway, we'll see you next week probably with the Monday mailbag. Get your questions in. Comment on this video. Or what hashtag are we going to be using this time?
Hashtag Danganronpa.